I've come back here to help celebrate Moreton's centenary. It's the business lunch, which I'm very honoured to be speaking at in this centenary year.
I always remember my very first interview where, after I left Oxford University, the whole discussion was about the bank I'd set up at school.
It equipped me for running a business. I understood about business, and I came out, worked for other people, set my own business up. And I thank the school greatly for that start.
It was an important part of my life because it prepared me for everything I did thereafter. I mean, I quite literally would not be doing what I'm doing today if it hadn't been for my teachers at Moreton. I would never have got into Oxford if it hadn't been for the help I got here.
It's the Moreton Hall Investec Centenary Business Lunch, and it's also the 30th anniversary of Moreton Enterprises. And of course, thank you in advance to our old Moretonian, Zanny Minton-Beddoes, well known to the world as the economics editor of the Economist magazine.
Taking over the running of Moreton Enterprise has been a very intimidating but exciting project for me.
I feel fortunate to have been appointed as finance director, as the role has given me ample work experience and the insight to see the structure of a business and how the finance team works within that.
Last summer, my team and I entered the Designer Sub competition run by the global brand Subway.
I'm involved in the whole range of business functions, from purchasing and sales, to accounts, credit control, and PR.
I've been at Moreton Hall for 11 years now, and I can honestly say that leading the Moreton Enterprise team has been the highlight.
To welcome our guest speaker this afternoon, Mrs. Zanny Minton-Beddoes.
So the world is completely different. And I would submit that those changes are really due to two huge and momentous shifts that we've lived through. The one is globalization, which is a jargony word for the breaking down of barriers. The other big change was the digital revolution, the computer revolution, which is the most kind of spectacular change that's taken place over the last 30 years and at an increasing pace. And what do these two revolutions mean? You put globalization together with this extraordinary increase in computer power. And I think there are sort of three big things that have happened. The first is enormous prosperity has been created. The second, however, is that within countries, technology has benefited those who have had the education and the skills to use it. And people without those skills have seen their living standards improve much less. And I think the third big change is that these two big, powerful forces sowed the seeds for the huge financial crisis we saw in 2007. And many of the jobs that exist today won't exist in 2 decades' time. There's a study that came out from some academics in Oxford that said 47% of today's jobs won't exist by 2030. And what does all that mean if you put it together? Well, I think if you put aging, slowing of growth in the emerging markets and this demographic change together, you have a huge challenge for the Western democratic political systems. If you're in the top 20% of people who have the skills and capacity to be complementary to computers, you will do fabulously well in this new world. If you're not in that, you're not going to be making very much money and you're not going to be paying very much tax revenue. So we have a very different kind of system. But I think most of all, it puts a premium on education. It puts a premium on maximizing the number of people who have the capacity to be complementary to computers, who have the capacity to do well in this globalized, fast-changing world. We have to think about how do you redesign education to enable the next generation to have the skills they need to succeed in the kind of world I'm painting. And how do we do it? Well, we need to harness that new technology. And there's a lot of talk about, the German apprenticeship scheme. It may be vocational, it may be giving business skills to people at school, and you know exactly where I'm going with this. I mean, there is no better, to my mind, I've seen no better example of that in the last few months, or perhaps ever, than those unbelievably impressive 4 young ladies who started our lunch. I mean, Moreton is absolutely at the forefront of this. And I don't know about you, but I would have hired any of them in a heartbeat.
The girls here today have heard one of the world's leading economists talk in such an articulate, light and entertaining fashion about all the problems that affect us in the world.
And then for them to see this next stage, the potential heights that you can take that interest in business and economics, just incredibly motivating for them.
The success of the school is based upon its capacity to embrace everything that is happening in the world around.